it's kind of just sad when you grow up here. I think I had a point in my life where I kind of like refuted Baltimore and then grew to love my people, you know, in a different kind of way. You just grow up and realize there's no place like home. You know, that there's no place like living in Baltimore, and no place like living in your own culture. And I don't mean like, well, I guess I do kind of mean the African American sense, but that's not what I'm talking about. You know, I guess that ties into it, but like having your own city or having your own vibe, or just, you know, this own unique flavor that once you leave you crave it. You know, you start to just, I want to be around Baltimore and move around Baltimore. And there's nothing better than just walking on the harbor. And if you're from a place like Chicago or a place like Miami or a place like Toronto or one of these other major cities around the world, you just know, you know, Baltimore isn't just some small town. It's actually a pretty big area, you know. But and when I got to experience that, I remember walking the harbor as a kid, you know, in 2004 and 2006. I remember every single mall was full. I remember Towson Mall on a Saturday. Christmas shopping was like, you know, if you just a kid and you experience that, or a young preteen or teenage years going to the mall doing that, you know, even during that time period, is a hell of an experience. And it just, I think you kind of got to get older and kind of lose it a little bit, you know, and then you yearn for it. And one thing about me is I used to be that guy at the beginning of my life journey, like, man, I'm gonna get out of Baltimore and I'm gonna move to Florida, or I'm gonna move to Los Angeles. But as I got older, I want to stay, you know, and help change my city. You know, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't have a plan for it at all. I got a couple ideas, but, you know, something I really hope to do and just change my hometown. You know, I'll stitch some videos. You'll understand. Outside of the things like crime, because I hate to talk about crime, and I hate to talk about The Wire, and I hate to talk about stuff like that, because with Baltimore's history, it's almost like everywhere you go, The Wire. Yeah, The Wire. Talking about Baltimore, Baltimore's history. That's what we're going to talk about first. We're going to talk about Baltimore's history. Now, Baltimore is what, 254. It's a city part of the original 13 colonies, and it's a pretty old ass town. Like, everywhere you go is basically historic. Every street is probably historic. It's probably the first something. You know what I'm saying? It's a good first war battle, war general, all of that. You know what I'm saying? It's the first place they colonized, not to mention, is down the street from DC. So, but really the entire state of Maryland is historic. It's probably nothing more historic than being right here, because it's where they came. So all of that stuff, and a lot of that stuff is built, and there's a lot of monuments around Baltimore City and just stuff like that. And yeah, that's kind of the history of Baltimore. You know, it's old and historic and poor. You know, now downtown we have this location called Power Plant Live, which was the, you know, downtown power plant. And then we've had things like the Westport Power Plant, Bethlehem Steel, and I think it was another steel manufacturer company. But here's the thing about all of those things: they got replaced, unless you was working at a hospital, you know, John Hopkins Hospital, unless you were working in healthcare or a nurse, which was extremely hard for African Americans at the time, you know, who would finance that and how they would come up with it and pay for it, you know. That was extremely difficult, you know. So when a lot of those jobs left in the 70s to the 90s, because Bethlehem Steel was still around while I was a young kid, so about 2000s, yeah, about 2004. I remember my dad driving home working from Bethlehem Steel. When they shut those things down, it just leaves the community or people with no source of income, and there's no church in the wild. So that's kind of why Baltimore looks like Iraq in some places. And yes, Baltimore is, I'm not going to sugarcoat it to you, Baltimore looks like a third world country. In some places, we do have nice things. Okay, Now,